Welcome to the Bros Talking Soccer podcast, where three brothers generally chat about what's happening in American and European soccer. But it is the 2019 World Cup. It is day 10. It is Sunday, June 16th. And that's what we're talking about. My name is Dave Knittel, the eldest Knittel brother. I am here with middle Knittel, Christian. You are joining us for your first World Cup podcast this year. Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
Hello, Dave. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here and discuss some World Cup action. I haven't done this in a year, so I'm so excited.
All right. I can feel the excitement in your voice. And so I'm excited because you're excited. Little Knittel is off running errands, so Matt will not be joining us. But
it's very ambiguous. But
yeah,
I would like to know what those errands are.
He's always very ambiguous with his text. Never really know what that kid's up to. But before we get into everything we're talking about today, a couple quick plugs. We are a part of the Big Heads Media podcast network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for tons of awesome podcasts. It's up at something like 45 podcasts and about all kinds of different things. I've been listening to all the different podcasts. Today I was listening to one called Skeptical Skeptics, where I think it's a husband and a wife, and they chat about just things that they're curious about. There was one, How I Met Your Friends, where they talk about the TV show Friends and How I Met Your Mother.
Oh my God. So, wait, yeah. That sounds like it's for me.
Yeah. So there's tons of awesome podcasts on there. Obviously there's sports ones as well. Jeff, hello. Thank you for joining us, but go check all them out on bigheadsmedia.com. We are also a part of StadiumScene.tv. It is a podcast network, or actually it's just a content network with all kinds of awesome sports content. They have soccer content, blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, and other sports as well. So if you're a sports fan, go check out StadiumScene.tv. We record this thing live on YouTube right after the match is finished. So come hang out with us as we record and interact with us. We got a couple viewers here. So hello to everybody joining us live. If you're listening to the podcast, come hang out. Talk with us while we record live. And let's get into the podcast for today. Christian, are you excited?
Dave, I couldn't be more excited.
All right. Before we get into the matches, I've been really enjoying this, but Jeff, our fan who's been joining us for most of the podcasts, asked us a random question. And so today's question is, you are walking along a beach when you discover a genie. He gives you 2 wishes. You may wish for anything. However, the person you hate most in the world will receive double what you receive. How do you use your wishes, Christian?
So when you say double, does that mean they receive double of what we wish for, or double the amount of wishes that we would get?
Okay, I actually did not understand this, so I think it actually might be what you said. I thought he got 4 wishes, or she got 4 wishes, but it actually might be what you say. I think whatever my answer is my answer still stands.
Well, yeah, same with me. My answer is still going to be, I'm not going to take any wishes because I don't want my worst enemy, Jose Mourinho, to get anything. So he is not allowed to have any nice things.
You're willing to sacrifice
all my happiness to make sure he is not extra happy.
All right, fair enough. I don't know if I really hate anybody, so I'm just going to say what I really want, and cheers or congrats to whoever, I guess. All right, so Jeff has clarified. He said double the amount he wishes for. Okay, so what I would wish for is a ton of money. And it's not just because I want
just nice like $2,000.
No, so I have like 5 to 10 billion. So let's say 10 billion. Okay. And the reason for that is not just because like I want a Bugatti or nice houses or anything like that, but with money, it buys
you. Would you give me some?
Yes, I would give you some. It buys you freedom. It buys you time. And, in this life, we spend so much time trying to work and do things to make money so that we can do the things we actually want to do. And whereas, if I had that money already, I could travel, I could golf as much as I want. I'm very entrepreneurial. I could fund my projects because that's been...
Yeah, so for all of you that don't know, Dave has all these ideas and they just keep flowing and he keeps coming up with new stuff. So the world would not be ready for Dave with money because there would just be too many Dave things out there.
That is a very good point. So yeah, I don't think the world's ready for that. But also I would buy the Philadelphia Union and also want to minority invest in Liverpool. I'm okay not being a majority investor there, but I would want to have a piece of that action. I feel like that amount of money, I could do that. My second wish is for things in the ocean to not attack me. And so I have never been attacked, but I have I have a fascination with
the shit out of me.
I have a fascination with the ocean, but I am very, very scared of going in there because things are just faster than me. I'm worried about things coming after me. And so if I was confident that nothing would come at me, I would love to be in the ocean. So maybe they have to stay like 2 to 3 feet away or something like that. but I would surf. I would do so many things, scuba dive, but I'm just scared of the ocean. And so, yeah, that would be my second wish. Christian, you have something.
How would your worst enemy not be or get doubled, not getting attacked in the ocean?
It doesn't matter. This is my wish. So I guess they would I guess they would just be extra safe.
Receive double of the attack, right?
Yeah.
Or if you had your 3-foot bubble, they'd have a 6-foot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So Jeff, this was a fantastic question. This was a lot of fun. I love this. We should start off more podcasts this way. So Jeff, keep them coming. All right, let's actually talk about today's matches now. Christian, you ready? I have not started the timer, so I have no idea how far into this we are at this point, but we should
It'll
be
be fine.
Sweden versus Thailand was the early match, and Sweden absolutely pummeled them. Ended up winning 5-1. Christian, I know you were getting a little bit of rest through this one, but
a little bit.
Did you have any overarching thoughts from what you saw maybe on the highlights?
So what I saw there was Thailand was definitely more organized than they were against the U.S. in the first game, which is an encouraging sign. Plus, they got a goal on the counterattack, which is very, very nice for them. But they still just were not prepared for this tournament coming up against the United States or Sweden. And Sweden just they look like it was a training session almost all over again, and they were just dominant, creating all sorts of chances. They didn't take that many, and I think it was only 3-0 until pretty late in the game, and then they went up 4-0. Thailand scored, and then they had a last-second penalty. So it really just it looked very easy. They never really had to get out of second gear.
I would agree with that. I was, however, impressed with Thailand, just given their performance against the U.S. and, how that went. It wasn't the greatest. And so specifically, I was impressed with their center forward, Sung Yun, or Gwyn. Gwyn is what I'll go with. She was number 21. She was their captain, center forward. And I actually noticed this in the first half, but there was a couple counters, maybe 3 or 4 within the first few minutes, not first like 20 minutes or so. And they were all through her. She, dribbled. She was able to maintain a little bit of possession, which Thailand did not have whatsoever against the USA. So I was impressed with her. And then ultimately she gets a goal later on in the match. So I wanted to call her out there. Getting into the specifics of the match, 6th minute is when Sweden takes the lead. Earliest goal scored at this World Cup so far. There's a free kick near the sideline about 30 yards out. Rubinson serves a absolutely superb ball in between the 6-yard spot and the penalty spot, just exactly where you want it. Goalkeeper's caught in no woman's land, I guess is how I'll say it. And Sembrant just gets her head to it. And she was just unmarked. So a relatively easy header, but a good execution from Sweden on this. Really poor defending from Thailand. Christian, any thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, I did see this one. So it was a beautiful, beautiful delivery in. And I think that it's a little bit on the Thailand defenders for not marking very tightly, but it's just a fantastic delivery. And when you have fantastic delivery, half the time it's going to result in a goal. So it was very nice.
Yeah, I would say that. I thought Thailand couldn't really get any possession going. Again, those couple counterattacks through Sung Gwyn, were few and far between, and it was just a lot of pressure by Sweden on them. I thought it was really interesting. We saw this in Sweden's first match, and they continued it here, but Sweden's set pieces, specifically on the corners, they crowd the 6-yard box, and then they serve the corner into that area, but their players are having to come backwards to try to head the ball, and it's just a really weird strategy. Now, I will say, in the Chile match, they had 6 players in the 6-yard box and then 1 runner. Here, they had 5 players in, and then they had 2 runners. So they at least had 1 more runner, but I'm still just not a fan of this because you have a height advantage here, and you're taking away that advantage by having everybody kind of very static. Christian, any thoughts on that?
So sometimes I do understand why teams do this, especially when you do have a height advantage. All you have to do, if the delivery is right and is whipped instead of lofted in, you really only just need to touch it towards goal. It doesn't really matter if you're going back or not. But when the lofted deliveries are coming into the 6-yard box, it doesn't serve any purpose other than, I guess, you're blocking off the keeper from coming out to just collect the ball.
But what about every time? I get that you want to vary it up sometimes, and maybe you have it crowded, and then other times you have runners. But this is every single corner they take this way. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess they've only had time to train for that. I don't think that is the best way to go about all the set pieces. But if they find that they have more success doing that than having a bunch of different runners, because maybe the ball, they know it's not going to be played exactly where it should be every time, and they know it's going to be within a certain range. I guess you just want to crowd that specific area, so it makes it a little bit more consistent there.
All right, fair enough. 19th minute, Sweden gets their second goal. And so this one is a header, comes off a cross, header to the far post. And the goalkeeper for Thailand actually makes a really nice save here. Bun Singh, she gets a hand to it, but she doesn't parry it far enough out. Just kind of parries it kind of back into a danger area. She really needed to tip that beyond her post and out for a corner kick. Aslani then collects the ball, makes a nice little move, and then cuts the shot near post. I know they were kind of blaming the goalkeeper there for getting beat at the near post, but I don't really blame her. I thought Aslani did really well to create space. And then, the goalkeeper's in a really tough position anyways. I can't believe that they even mentioned that offhandedly there. But again, it was a really nice save by Bun Singh, but Aslani does well to collect it. And I actually noted right before this, Aslani had 3 or 4 chances before this and wasn't hitting the target. And I noted that she didn't have her finishing boots on, and then, she gets the goal there, but she probably should have had more than just this one. Christian, do you see this goal? Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I thought the save was absolutely brilliant. It's just that final piece of goalkeeping just was not good enough. Like you said, she spilled the ball back into a danger area, which is just what you cannot do, especially when you're making a very, very good save. I understand you're focused on making sure the ball doesn't go in the net, and that is the number one thing you want to happen. But if you spill the ball, Boonsig just made that final mistake. I don't think on the follow-up it is her responsibility. I think her defender should have come to her aid a little bit more. And you really are at a guessing game at that point. And it was just a very, very good play from Aslani.
Yeah, and it's a fallacy that goalkeepers are supposed to always cover their near post. And I was listening
Absolutely it is.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview with Tim Howard, I think, called it out specifically. It was either him or Brad Guzan, and they basically said that, constantly commentators are saying, oh, the goalkeeper should never get beat at the near post. The goalkeeper, their job is to get their angles correct and prevent it from going in the goal. And so sometimes
figure out where the player who's attacking you is going. You have to take a guess. Are they going to shoot near post or far post? The only time that it is responsible for the near post is when you actually have a defender guarding them and containing them. Then the defender is supposed to guard the far post and you're supposed to guard the near post. But when someone's running at you, are you kidding me? You have to make a guess and try and read what the player's doing. What am I going to let the far post always be open for somebody to tap it in?
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Christian is a goalkeeper, and so he has a little bit of expertise here. He's our resident goalkeeper in the Knittel family. Thailand was just terrible at marking set pieces. I noted this. I also thought that Thailand, while they had a really good shape, I just thought that they were way too easy to pass the ball through and even just possess in little pockets. It's like they did 75% of the things right, but then just couldn't put it all together. And I mean, at the end of the day, Sweden is a more talented side, the more technical, and you can understand it. It was just, Thailand had a really good shape, but then Sweden was just so easily cutting through them. And if Sweden was a little bit more clinical on their finishing, this could have been very, very ugly. Sweden gets their third goal in the first half, and that comes from Rolfo. The ball is crossed in by Sweden. It's punched by the goalkeeper, and then Sweden absolutely shanks the follow-up shot. So Thailand has an opportunity to clear, and they clear it just straight up the middle, just defending 101, what you don't want to do. And this is why. So Rolfo intercepts it and then just absolutely bullets the shot, upper corner. Goalkeeper Bun Singh gets a hand of the ball, but it's way too much power. Just a lovely goal. Christian, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think that they were criticizing Bootsing a little bit again, just for getting the touch and not keeping it out. But I think that's, again, very unfair. I just hear criticism of goalkeepers. Every time you touch the ball, you're supposed to save it, apparently. That's the thing. Who would have known? It was a very, very nice shot from Rolfo. And again, her defenders are letting her down by clearing the ball the way that they're doing it. And as you said, it's defending 101, soccer 101, the very, very essential basics. You cannot clear the ball low up the middle of the field. Like if you're clearing it up to half in the air, that's where your striker is supposed to hold up the ball, or at least someone's supposed to be in that area. But to just low clearances up the middle, it's unacceptable at this level.
Absolutely. So the second half, I noted the Yanogi sub at halftime came on for Sweden, and she looked relatively lively throughout. But then it was just the next thing I noted was the 81st minute. So Sweden gets their second goal. So the ball is worked across the field by Sweden to the left side. And then there's a cross by Eriksson after a quick combination. Hits a first-time cross and a far post header by Hurtig. Really nice goal for them. Again, just poor defending by Thailand. They looked exhausted. And then any thoughts on that one, Christian?
Yeah, just is wave after wave of pressure from Sweden, and especially the way that they were attacking the wings and crossing the ball in. That was something you also could see Thailand was up against with the United States. They just knew they had an aerial advantage, and it was just attempt after attempt to try and get those headers in, and it was working just because of the lack of organization from Thailand and the really good work from Sweden players to get in position.
Yep. So then 91st minute comes along. Thailand has a counter again through Sung Ngoan, and she is again all on her own. But Sweden had pushed numbers forward. The ball gets played over the top, and she just drives at the near post. So she's dribbling the ball, and a lot of times what you'll see players who maybe aren't confident will stay out wide and won't cut in and drive towards the goal. And so what she does really well is takes the ball and drives right towards the goal, specifically the near post, and just keeps going. Sweden doesn't really pressure her. And then she just rifles it near post. Really good goal, and something that Thailand should be proud of. I thought that her specifically was had a really good game and deserved this. So I wanted to highlight her there. Any thoughts, Christian?
I mean, how dare the goalkeeper get beat at the near post, right? It's unbelievable. Yeah, no, this was just very, very confident striker ability for someone who has gotten pretty much no chances up until this moment, very, very late in the second game. That's very composed to be able to take that chance, and she should be commended for what she did there. Absolutely.
Then Sweden closes things out with a penalty kick after a VAR decision. It was the right call, and you get it, with so what happened here, the ball gets crossed in. Sweden has a header, and it comes off a Thailand defender's outstretched arm. Again, it goes to VAR. Christian's miming it, so thank you for that. It was the right call. Her hand was outstretched, and you get it because of goal differential and all of that. Rubinson steps up, converts it, and this one finishes 5-1. Christian, any other thoughts on the match?
Nope, just looked like exactly what we expected, and now Sweden's through to the round of the 16. This group was pretty uneventful and exactly as we expected it to go.
All right, awesome. Before we talk about the other matches, a couple quick points here. So Matt and Jeff both say hello. They're joining us live on YouTube, so they say hello to you, Christian.
Hello.
Oh, didn't realize you were drinking. Okay, then they also have some follow-up questions for you. So Christian,
for me,
yes, who is the Matt Leffler, and I answered this on a previous podcast. Matt actually followed up, and I'll give his response here. But who is the, I guess, famous person that shares your initials that you admire the most? So my answer was Donkey Kong and then Dirk Kuyt. So those were my two that I could think of. Is there anyone that comes to mind for you?
Well, Calvin Klein is the one that always pops into my mind because of just they have all this clothing apparel, and I always was like, oh, that's mine because it has my initials on it. Kind of like how Michael Kors is for mom. Michelle Knittel, for those of you who do not know. I'm trying to think who else has a CK. I might have to think on this a little bit more.
All right. And then so Matt ended up saying Meatloaf was the one that he wanted to go with because he couldn't think of anyone. And that is a fantastic one. I'm a big Meatloaf fan, so I like that one. But he has a serious question for you, Christian. How much training have you had as a goalkeeper, and how much does Christian matches? How much does Christian was matches for goalkeeping? I don't know what that second part question means, Matt.
Probably how many matches have I played? Is that
okay.
As goalkeeper? That's how I would.
Okay, sure.
Interpret
it however you would like.
Okay, well, I had training for about a year, I guess, in senior year of high school. And then I didn't really have much training after that. I have always been a field player that could play goalie when necessary. Out of necessity for the current team that I am one of the captains for, I was forced to play goalkeeper because we can't find them because they are the rarest breed of soccer humans on the planet. So we're still looking for one. If you are in the Philly area, I'm going to advertise right now, and you would like to play goalie, please reach out to us at BT Soccer Pro, and I will get you involved in the team. Thank you.
All right, lovely plug there. Before we talk about the USA versus Chile match, I wanted to give a quick update. So if you're listening to the podcast, you're going to hear a little bit of music and a plug for the Small Town Secrets podcast. Talk to you soon. And if you're watching live on YouTube, so we'll cut that. And so you guys are getting a little bonus. Podcast listeners won't have this. So Yeah, so you guys are getting a little bit of extra here. But Small Town Secrets is a podcast that talks about kind of the weird and wacky things that happen in small towns all across America. Yeah, including wacky waving inflatable arm flailing too, man. But no, they talk about, I guess, like the haunted things and all kinds of weird, interesting stuff. So check them out on bigheadsmedia.com. So that would be my little plug there. Christian, anything you would like to say?
What's the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing too, man? I was just doing the D.
Yeah. Oh, this guy's got moves. All right, let's get back to actually talking about the podcast here. Right, how much does Christian watch? Oh, okay. I meant
how much does Christian watch?
I guess the goalkeeper. Okay. I'll welcome back, and then we'll okay.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone, from that lovely little break. Matt has clarified his question, and he was saying, how much does Christian watch goalkeepers when he's watching a match? And so, Christian, do you have a response?
Well, I typically watch all players that are playing in the match because, as you might know, and all of you avid listeners know, I'm the James Milner of amateur soccer out here. I play all positions, so I really study the entire game, including management, which I'm going into. So. There you go.
Okay, all right. There you go, Matt.
So it's a lot, I guess, is your question.
Okay, all right. So there you go, Matt. All right, let's talk about the Chile versus USA match. And so coming into it, the USA made 7 lineup changes. So first off, Christian, what did you think about the US with their heavy lineup rotation?
I don't really love this. I think getting the chemistry together through these group matches really helps later on in the tournament. But also, I understand you want to rest players while you can because we have game against Sweden. The US has a game against Sweden coming up. And then the knockout stages will start immediately. You don't get much time off to rest your legs in this tournament. It's games every max 5 days, usually 3 to 4 days. And it's great that we were able to rotate and still get this win for the US, but I don't love, especially goal scorers such as Alex Morgan, not starting this match just to keep her legs moving and keep that goal scoring form coming. I think defensively they started the 2 center. Well, no, I guess Sauerbrunn back, but why can I not think of Dahlkemper? Yeah, was still in there. Goalkeeper, yes, she has to build familiarity specifically with the center back, so I understand why they would start. But just rotating and seeing what the attackers can do, I understand on a given day. But I think it was just too much because now the next game is going to be a whole other team pretty much out there. So I think it's a little weird to rotate as much as they did. 3 or 4 players is probably what I would recommend for a game like this.
I think under normal circumstances, I could agree, but I'm actually okay with this. So the U.S. has...
So.
What's that?
Well, they won. If they didn't win, we would be saying something very different.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that factors in, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they won. They have probably the deepest team at this tournament. And in World Cups, like you were saying, there's a lot of matches in a compressed timeline. And with the yellow card accumulation and suspension, where you get 2 yellow cards by the end of the quarterfinal. Yeah, by the end of the quarterfinals, that's 5 matches that you need to go without picking up 2 yellow cards. There are going to be suspensions. There are going to be players that need to be fresh, and you don't always know, who's going to be the one that needs to step up. And so,
is this not the platform to argue that ridiculous rule?
No, Matt and I, we talked about it. Yeah, that is an absolutely absurd rule. Yeah, we've already touched on this.
It is final because you have 2 yellow cards in 5 games. This is just a joke. It's ridiculous.
It's moronic. It should reset after the group stage, most likely, and then reset again probably after the quarterfinals. Yep. But that's just kind of probably. I think we agree on that, Christian.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's injuries that happen, and so the fact that they were able to get all 20 field players minutes is a huge benefit to them. And I think it will benefit them later on down the line. A lot of these players have experience and they've been playing together for a long time. It's not like other, teams or other World Cups where, maybe the men come together and some players are new and making their debut and they haven't played before. A lot of this team has played together for a while, especially the starters. And so I'm fine. I think that there's not going to be issues with congruency or anything like that. I think that's the right word to use there. And so I'm okay with this rotation. So anything else before we talk about what actually happened in the match?
Nope.
So first thing I noted, 4th minute, U.S. does really well to build out of the back. It's eventually worked to the right with Morgan Bryan. She sends in a dangerous cross. It is almost an own goal, and it was a good save by Endler, who had an absolutely absurd game. Even though she lost 3-0, she was player of the match, rightfully so. And then Lloyd hits the post on the rebound. So this was the first real dangerous opportunity and a sign of things to come for the U.S., but I wanted to call it out. Christian, any thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to highlight Endler was just amazing in this game. This game could easily been 8-0, and she made some absolutely world-class saves in very dangerous situations. So this is just the first of many.
Absolutely. Before we continue, Matt has a really good question here on Twitter or on YouTube. He says, with the rotation, is there any advantage that you've prevented your opponents from seeing what you might do later on? So Christian, do you put any stock into that?
I mean, at any time you could say that. Like, we could have not used specific set pieces that we are saving for later. So I think that there is an element to that. But we know what this team is capable of. We've seen what a lot of, especially in the attack and the defense, I feel like a lot of the players are the same that we've seen in the past. In the midfield, there's a little bit younger and it's a little different in there. But I think most teams know exactly what they're going to get with us. It's just, can you contain the creativity that they have together?
And so I'm, I guess, in agreement. I don't think that there's really any advantage to rotating your squad with preventing opposition from seeing how you play. The only thing that there is an advantage is using set pieces, and I don't think that has anything to do with rotation. So I agree with you. Not giving away set pieces is something that will give you an advantage, but I don't think the player personnel or anything like that.
The only thing that you could say is that rotating some of these players that you might not know about and people haven't scouted out, like, you're seeing them and they're not like a secret weapon anymore, but I still don't put too much stock into that at all.
Yeah, it's the World Cup, and especially as you get later on, like those teams are going to have scouts. They will have scouted footage. I don't think you're going to surprise anybody with a player at this point. That's where I stand. There you go. Christian surprising us on YouTube. I thought that the U.S. throughout their counter press is just so suffocating, and it just wore on Chile. Yeah. Anytime that they turned the ball over, they just had players swarming to it, and Chile just couldn't catch their breath and would turn it over very quickly.
They reminded me a little bit, and I've watched both games now, so the way the U.S. are playing reminds me of that Spain team from 2010 in the way that they press and the way that they keep the ball. They don't just willy-nilly just try and counterattack, try and force. They really keep the ball, keep possession, and when they lose it, they have almost that Pep Guardiola type mentality where you want to close and win the ball back within 6 seconds. Like, it's insane how fast that they press and win it back.
Yeah. U.S. in possession were doing something interesting where they were tucking their fullback. Speaking of Pep Guardiola, Christian, they were pulling a move from Pep, and they're pinching their fullbacks in possession.
Yeah, I definitely noticed a lot of Pep Guardiola tactics when I was watching the women's team.
Yeah, they're just dominating. And then you had your width coming through, your Kristen Press and Mallory Pugh on the wings. U.S. finally breaks through, in the 11th minute, but they break through in the 11th minute. Dahlkemper tries to play a long pass to Kristen Press. It's a long diagonal. Chile intercepts it, but similar to Thailand, just a terrible clearance right up the middle. And Carly Lloyd basically hits a half volley fadeaway, is what I'm calling it, with her weaker foot. Julie Ertz is barreling down and clearly should have
on her strong foot
and should have been the one to take this, but Carly Lloyd says, nope, this one's mine. And I couldn't believe she hit this in. I mean, it is so hard to do. She was going away from goal to keep that down, not hit it over, to hit it with your weak foot, far post, through crowded trap. This was just such an impressive goal, and the U.S. takes the lead there. Christian, any thoughts on the goal?
Oh, absolutely stunning. Endler didn't even move, and I wouldn't expect her to, because this ball went perfectly into the corner of the net. It is just incredible. The only thing I could say is, yes, Chile's defenders did not do a great job of clearing that ball, heading it just right to the 18. But come on, like, you giving up that chance to Lloyd, you'd say, okay, I'll have anyone take that chance on a given day. There's no way she's going to make a leaning back, left-footed half volley. But wow, did she strike that cleanly? And it looked like Julie Ertz was going to kick straight through her at one point because they were just about to collide. But very glad that Lloyd was able to take that, because it was a stunning strike.
Absolutely impressive. USA then, about halfway through the first half, or maybe not quite, they had a free kick, or they gave up a free kick to Chile. And so they played a ridiculously high line. I thought whenever Chile had a somewhat dangerous set piece in the USA's own defensive half, I thought that the US played a very high risky line, and I am not a fan of high lines. And so the Chile gets a goal here. Luckily, it was offside, but the ball was played more or less straight down the middle of the pitch. There's a player for Chile who was offside and actually wasn't as offside as I thought. I thought she was like 3 or 4 yards offside. She was only about a yard offside, which is still, pretty good distance. But then the goalkeeper comes out, Nair, and goes to basically anticipates a touch from the Chilean and misses it, and the ball rolls into the open net. Christian, any thoughts on this play, especially from a goalkeeper perspective?
Yeah, the goalkeeper has to do better. You have to be winning that ball. I understand she's offside and the goal didn't stand, but you have to be ready because she didn't know in the moment that was the case. You could tell by her face. She immediately panicked, looked over to the assistant referee and was like, "Oh, please be offside." You have to always be looking at the ball. And I understand when a player is running at you, you have to worry about them touching it, but you always follow the ball, not what the player is going to do. So the goalkeeper, in my opinion, made a mistake trying to dive to the right when the ball was going to her. Well, I guess it was to her right, but from our left. So the ball bounced over her.
The ball bounced to her right. The player went. Yes. Yeah, okay. Yes. She dove left.
She dove to her left. The player's right. Yes.
Yes.
So you have to follow the ball at every moment there. And although the player didn't touch the ball, was it Lara? I can't remember who almost touched the ball for Chile.
I don't remember either.
I know she didn't touch it, but she still had an impact on the play and forced the goalkeeper to make a decision she wouldn't otherwise have made. So it definitely wasn't the correct offside decision.
Got it. And then, so this kind of flows into, Jeff asked this question, and Christian, I don't know how knowledgeable you're going to be, because to be honest, guys, we're pretty, what?
I'm very knowledgeable.
Okay. To be honest, we are, we cover a lot of times more the men's game, and we're fans of this World Cup, and we're watching just from just strictly reacting to what we're seeing. I will be honest, I don't know a lot about what's happening, on these teams outside of that. But Jeff's question was basically, Christian, as a keeper, is the U.S. missing any quality in Hope Solo, or are the 3 goalkeepers right now, good enough?
Okay, so Hope Solo definitely was the best goalkeeper we've seen from the women's game. I am not sure what they're going to offer us because they haven't really been tested yet in the 2 games. I think, what have they made 1 save? Nair, right? That's her name.
If that,
right? Yeah, is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Nair. Okay.
Think so.
Yeah, just 1 save, I think, in 2 games, and it was a pretty comfortable one. This was a panicky moment that does not fill me with confidence, and I know Hope Solo really would have been all over this ball. Hope Solo, though, was just, I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but she was a hard personality for, I think, a lot of the players to get along with and the manager. And it's just, they had to drop her from the team. And I understand why they did it, but they definitely are missing a quality goalkeeper who, the way that Endler did today, can make world-class saves in big moments.
There you go. So U.S. getting back to the match. So the U.S. gets a corner in the 27th minute. Mallory Pugh drives to the end line and basically touches it out of bounds. She crosses it and it gets blocked out by Chile. And so they call a corner here, but by my angle, it looked like it should have been a goal kick. Christian, do you agree or
okay?
Not?
So I've watched this multiple times, and yes, I think that it was out of bounds, but they still haven't shown an on-the-line camera, which I just cannot believe that at this day and age, you can't have every angle, especially on the goal line, to see if the ball goes out completely. They did not show it on TV, and that's not something that could be reviewed by VAR.
I'm in agreement. I don't know why there's not cameras like on the corner flag. Just looking straight down. We have it in American football where they just put the camera in the the pylons that are on the end, and it just. It's the easiest. I don't know. With technology these days, it seems like a very simple solution. But like you said, it's not VAR reviewable anyways. It's just more for our knowledge as fans. Yeah. It'd be nice to know. I guess
that's why they're not putting the camera there, because it doesn't really make a difference. But because it's not a reviewable thing.
Yeah,
but
I guess
this is a consumer request, and I would like to have it.
It's a consumer culture. All right, so the resulting corner was absolutely fantastic. Davidson, who had a really good match, specifically a really good first half, wasn't quite as involved in the second, drives the ball near post. I thought her delivery on all the set pieces that she took was fantastic throughout. Drives it near post, and Julie Ertz flicks it almost with like the back of her head. She's kind of facing the wrong direction, and just
a la Chicharito.
So much power on it. Endler gets a hand to it, but can't keep it out. And this was just such a nice goal. The first 2 goals by the U.S., I had audible multiple exclamations about because they were so nice. Christian, thoughts on this one?
This was a beautiful, beautiful play. And yes, you can argue that the corner should never have been given. And based off of what you were talking about earlier, running away from goal for the Swedish players, Julie Ertz did it and did it extremely well. I know she's running kind of straight towards the ball.
She started the penalty spot and then, looped her
but
run.
she also hooked around and was going away from goal when she headed it. To generate the power and accuracy on that is very, very difficult. And I know the ball delivery was whipped, so it had most of the power on it already. But to direct it the way that she did, and Endler got her hand to it, and definitely not saying that she should save this in any way, because that's a very, very difficult thing to do. Headers specifically for goalkeepers, I know, are really hard because the ball comes off weird spin and you never really know how it's going to deflect off someone's head. So the ball was just perfectly placed into the top corner. And although the goalkeeper got a touch, there was nothing she was ever going to be able to do to keep that out.
Absolutely. Throughout the first half, throughout the game, really, Chile's defending line was just so deep. Wasn't quite as deep as Argentina, but it was pretty deep.
The one thing I wanted to highlight specifically after that corner was every time the U.S. has a set piece, it really feels like they might score. They have all these different routines, and even when they do just loop the ball in, they have such a height and strength advantage over most teams that I've seen them play, just not even in this tournament, but leading up into it, that it's very, very impressive. And there's very few teams who are going to be able to stop them from just winning those aerial duels. And if they can hit the target and do it well and not have a player like Endler in that net, they're going to be scoring a lot more.
Yep. And then 35th minute comes. U.S. has a corner kick. Davidson, fantastic delivery. Lloyd beats her marker and easy goal. Chile just wasn't tracking runners effectively on the set pieces, and U.S. goes up 3-0. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this was even easier than the Ertz goal. Just perfectly delivered right into the middle, and Lloyd is just wide open. Nothing that anyone in that goal could have done other than the defenders marking better, because Lloyd just was wide open and was free. I know the Chile defender who was on Lloyd kind of looked like she was calling for a foul, but it looked like she just threw herself to the ground because she knew she wasn't going to beat Lloyd in the air. That definitely was not a foul to me, and just a perfect header right into the side of the net.
Absolutely. Last two things I noted from the first half. Julie Ertz was absolutely everywhere. Offense, defense. She was immense and just all over the pitch. And then lastly, this definitely changed in the second half, but the U.S. didn't have a ton of chances from open play in the first half. And so, their goals kind of came about through, kind of a long ball that wasn't cleared properly, and then two corners. I didn't think they had a ton of chances created from open play, and that drastically changed in the second, but Chile did defend well.
I definitely agree with that, but I think it was hard for them too because Chile was playing really physical and were fouling every time they were kind of dribbled around. I saw that a lot more in this game than specifically against Thailand. So every time the U.S. were able to break, it looked like they were brought down and forced into a free kick situation. So that's the only thing I would highlight on that one.
All right, halftime comes. Julie Ertz comes off, and McDonald comes on. So she goes to center forward. Lloyd drops back into an attacking center midfield role, kind of where Morgan Bryan was playing, and then Morgan Bryan dropped back into Julie Ertz's role. And so that was interesting to see because I thought I noted the U.S. has so much flexibility with their lineups, and specifically lots of players can play multiple positions. And in a tournament where you're limited in your roster.
Got a lot of Christian Knittles out there.
There you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I'm sure the broadcast team was thinking the same thing. But they, again, it was just really interesting to see Carly Lloyd play an attacking center midfield role and do it very well in the second. And also, I thought McDonald was really good at center forward. I thought she made the right decisions. Carly Lloyd, for as good as she is at center forward, she can be a little bit single-minded with trying to shoot whenever possible. And McDonald did well to pass when she should have, to take shots when she should have. And I was overall really impressed with McDonald's play here. Any thoughts, Christian?
Yeah, I thought McDonald was really good. She kept it very, very simple. And the very few times that she actually did decide to be selfish and take people on, she was good. Like, she is very strong. She seems to have a good first step too to get around players. And the one shot she hit off the post, she just whipped it. And it was an incredible technique that she had in the way that she shot that ball.
Now, we have a couple subs here, and I noted that even when Chile had slight opportunities to break, the U.S. would get back, and even like McDonald was getting back. Even their center forwards were getting back.
It was just, specifically, I thought, did excellent in coming back from the right wing. She was just all over defensively and was one of the first people to ever stop counterattacks where they were.
Yeah, and again, just that suffocating press there. 55th minute, this begins kind of the Endler show. So Lloyd is taken out at midfield again. She's fighting off a bunch of defenders and does extremely well to poke it through to Morgan Bryan. And then Bryan has a great through ball to Kristen Press, who drives to the end line, cuts it back to Haran for what seems like a simple tap in. Again, really well. Haran drives it low on target into the center of the net. Maybe she should have gone closer to the far post, but Endler gets across and has a fantastic kick save, kicks it over the bar, and this was just an awesome save. Christian, any thoughts on this play?
Yeah, this was the first of the second half chances created or scored, or I guess shot by Press, not scored. Press was absolutely fantastic in the second half. She was just causing so many problems, beating players and crossing the ball or getting shots off on herself, but it was not on herself, by herself. But she was very, 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 very good the second half, and that should have been a goal. Just brilliant goalkeeping again to get the foot across to save it, a la, David De Gea. That's a similar type of save. Those kick saves, they're very difficult to do.
Yes, 58th minute, Press has that incredible volley, full volley, and again, good save by Endler. I mean, like you said, Press had an amazing second half. Endler, was just so good in net. So not only was her technique really good, she came out, she claimed crosses, she was good with her feet, and she was just a complete keeper. She might be, for as impressive as the goalkeeping play has been this tournament, she might be the most impressive keeper I've seen so
absolutely.
far.
This was the best performance of any goalkeeper in this tournament so far, and I think she probably is the number one goalkeeper in the world right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I already highlighted McDonald. So 66th minute, Endler has another amazing save. Pugh drove to the end line after a nice move, crossed it to McDonald. McDonald then flicks it onto the far post for Press to head it in at the far post. Endler, basically from the time McDonald has her flick, moves across her entire goal to the other side and has a full extension diving save to keep the ball out. Again, just a superb save by Endler here. Christian, any thoughts?
Endler is so freaking good. I don't know what else I can say.
All right. 80th minute, there's a penalty called on Chile after the U.S. has a free kick. And so Ali Long has a defender sort of draped all over her. There's some holding going on, and it continues to right around the edge of the box. A penalty is ultimately called. Christian, what did you think of, number one, this being called as a foul at all, and then number two, it being a penalty versus a free kick just outside the box?
Well, it was funny because I feel like this was being reviewed for a while, and no one really saw this, and no one was complaining and asking for the penalty at all. But VAR, I guess, called it in and said, okay, well, we need to take a look at this. The referee went over. In my opinion, this was not a penalty, and it was justly missed. I know that she was being held, and it was definitely a foul, but it does look like the Chile defender let go of Long before she crossed the line into the box. So this should not have been given as a foul, even because it was not caught in live time, and VAR doesn't give fouls outside the box.
No, it can. So it can review for a penalty, and if an infraction is spotted, because they're reviewing for something else, they can give the appropriate. Okay. Yeah, they can give the appropriate foul.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, but it definitely, in my opinion, was outside the box, and it seemed like the commentators were all in agreement, except for the sideline reporter who was talking to them about it, who seemed hell-bent that it was a penalty. I just
that's the official. So she's the
official. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's not a sideline official. She's sideline reporter. She's the official expert.
Okay, got it.
Expert on officials. Expert on officials. So Christina Unkel, that was. I was in agreement with Christina Unkel. It looked like the contact started outside the box and continued to. If it's on the line, it's a penalty. And I also agree with the call because we want to get holding and grabbing out of the game on set pieces. Get more in attack. So I'm fine with this being a penalty called. Christian, God bless you. God bless you. Or God bless you.
Bless you.
God bless you. And then Lloyd steps up and misses. Not something you would expect to see there. 82nd minute, Emily Sonnet comes on for Dahlkemper, and that is the moment where all 20 U.S. field players had made an appearance at this World Cup, and then the U.S. switched to a 3-back system. Ali Krieger moved into midfield, and again, just the positional flexibility with the players on this team is astounding. Ali Long, just my last note from the game, I mean, she was towing that line between
A little
picking up
reckless.
a second yellow card. She gets a yellow and then has two, I think, pretty late fouls, and was really testing the referee's resolve there. And so she's got to be careful if she gets, more opportunities. I wouldn't expect to see her much as the tournament wears on. So, she got her fouls in. Christian, any final thoughts from this?
Yeah, after her last foul in added time, about the 92nd minute, I definitely thought she was going to get that second yellow, and I'm glad the referee didn't. But I don't think Ali Long will be appearing again in this tournament, so I hope she had her fun. But yeah, she was a little bit reckless out there, and needs to be smarter in the future if she's going to be playing in that holding mid role.
Absolutely. So now it is time for our 3 of the days. Christian, did you have a save of the day? If you want me to go first,
Oh man, I want to say definitely Endler is going to be my choice on the save. I'm going to go with the shot. The full volley from Kristen Press. Yeah, it was at the near post, and she just got across so quickly, and it was just a fantastic shot. But I think the header was even better, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The Kristen Press header at the far post, the way she got across the goal so quickly. I think Press could have headed the ball into the ground better, but I still think that was the best save of the day. I'm changing it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. That was my save of the day as well. 66th minute when Press has the header and Endler comes across her goal. Special mention, 55th minute when she had that low kick save by Haran was also spectacular from her. But I'm in agreement with you. I thought the 66th minute was the best of the day. Christian, what was your goal of the day? Most impressive goal?
Definitely Carly Lloyd's first goal of the day for the U.S. The left-footed strike just on the half volley, leaning away. The technique it takes and just the concentration is so underrated, and the goalkeeper didn't even move, had all the power and the placement. It was just fantastic to see.
I'm going to agree with you there. Now, my special mention here again, because I'll throw out another one. I thought that the U.S.'s second goal, Julie Ertz, with the header going kind of the wrong direction, and to get the power that she did, direction, accuracy was really impressive as well. But I'm in agreement. The goal of the day was absolutely Carly Lloyd's half volley, because for all fading away, wrong foot, keeping it down, and Julie Ertz should have been the one to take. It was just such a special goal. So really impressive from her. Christian, what was your moment of the day? It can be, anything. What was the thing that stuck out to you, moment of the day?
Moment of the day, I think, was the first thing I talked about was Kristen Press's volley and the Endler save. Just the combination of brilliant play from both teams, just having players at the top of their game right there. The ball out to Press, the full concentration to whip that ball with incredible power towards the near post, and for Endler to get across and save it. It was world-class ability from everybody involved on that play, and I think that was the moment of the day.
My moment of the day was the 82nd minute sub, Emily Sonnet coming on for the U.S., having all 20 field players getting some minutes. That doesn't happen often, and so that was really cool for them, and so that'll be my moment of the day. Christian, question from Jeff on YouTube. What is the percentage, how much you feel? Percentage-wise, how much do you feel the U.S. will win this World Cup? So if you had to rank percentages, what do you think the U.S.'s chances are at this point?
So it's hard for me to give that, knowing that they haven't faced a real competition and someone who can challenge them for this competition. I think that the Sweden game will give us more of an indication of where they are. But right now, based off of what I have seen, I would say I'm about 65% confident they're going to win this tournament.
That they'll win the World Cup? Yeah. Wow. All right. Wow. That is higher than I am willing to go at this point. And it's just because I still think that there's a lot of talented teams in this. So I'm going to say 35%. I expect the US, and that's the highest percentage of any nation, but France is hosting. They're probably in the 30% range. England's there. Germany is kind of fading a little bit. I mean, Norway, I still have a lot of faith in. Sweden. And the fact that the US hasn't faced anybody and dealt with adversity is factoring into my decision. But 35 is about, as high as I'll go at that point. So excellent question, Jeff. And we're excited to see that last match of the game. Jeff's moment of the day was Thailand's goal. So thank you for chiming in. How many of the Women's World Cup recaps has Christian listened to? I can answer that one for him, Matt, but we'll leave that there. So preview of tomorrow's matches. We have the early match. We have 2 matches occurring simultaneously. We are going to do our best to cover these, but there's going to be things that we'll miss because we record these right after they finish and don't do replays. So China versus Spain and South Africa versus Germany are the two early matches. Then we have Nigeria taking on France and South Korea taking on Norway at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first matches are occurring at noon. Christian, what do you think is going to happen in China versus Spain?
Oh boy. I guess it's going to be a closer game. I think China's going to get a result here. And
don't cover your mouth while you're talking.
I'm talking through my
so
fingers
here.
You. I'm just thinking.
Okay.
I'm going with a 2-2 draw in this match.
Oh, there you go. You're talking through your two fingers there. I think that this is going to be such an interesting one because Spain was so good in their, well, they weren't so good, but once they made some subs in their first match, it really unlocked the team. Then against Germany, they were so good for the first 25 minutes, they just couldn't finish. And so I'm really interested to see them against this China team that is going to be tough. They're going to be rough, and I don't think Spain is going to like that. And so it's going to be a close one. I'm giving the slight edge to Spain because, again, very high on them and expect them to come through. But if they lose that game, it might not be the worst thing in the world because they might come through in third place out of that group and avoid playing the U.S. in the next round. And so that's something, I'm kind of rooting for them to come out and not have to face the U.S. in that next match because I was so high on them before this tournament. So that's factoring in. South Africa versus Germany. Christian, what do you expect to happen here?
I definitely expect a Germany win in this match. I think South Africa has been somewhat decent, but they have 2 losses in their first 2 games and are coming up against the best team in their group now. And Germany have won 2 games 1-0, so they haven't been very dominant. But I think this is a game where they explode a little bit more in attack, and this is going to be probably like a 3-0 victory here for Germany.
I'm in agreement. I expect handily. I expect Germany to handle the South Africa team. I've touched on this in the past. Just let it go. I've touched on this in the past where South Africa and Jamaica, they are trying to play the right way. They're doing the right things. They're just not up to the technical level of these other teams, and Germany should handle them in that one. Nigeria versus France. Christian, what do you think is going to happen there?
So I think France ends up winning this game, but it's going to be a little bit tighter than people think it's going to be. I think Nigeria are a tougher nut to break than you might think, and they have ability to counter. But I still think France are the more talented team and get the result done. I'm not confident that it's going to be handily, as you were trying to say in the last game. But I think it's going to be probably tied 0-0 at the break, and then France might just pull away in like a 2-0 victory late on.
So for me, I was not impressed with this Nigeria team when against Norway, and then even against South Korea. It was more South Korea's ineptitude in attack than really I give a lot of credit for Nigeria's defending. They were exceptional on the counter, but their defending, they just sat off. And if you're going to sit off against France and not track people and get them into opportunities, into dangerous areas, they're going to make you pay. And so I do expect France to cruise in this one and comfortably get through it with a multi-goal victory. Nigeria might hit them on the counter or something like that. But again, I haven't been overly impressed with this Nigeria team. Last match of the day, South Korea versus Norway. Christian, what do you expect to happen here?
I definitely am taking Norway in this match. I think it's going to be a convincing victory as well. South Korea have conceded 6 goals in their opening 2 matches, which is not what you want to see. And Norway really ran France close in that last match. So I think with France having all that, home advantage of playing in front of the crowds there, they won't have to deal with such adversity, and they will probably feel like the home team in this match. So Norway is going to win this game, and I'm going to just go with like a 4-1 victory. I think that they're going to dominate.
No, I agree. South Korea is probably my most disappointing team of this World Cup. I expected them to come in and be more organized defensively and at least be somewhat dangerous in attack, and they just haven't been. I think I had them even beating Brazil in the next round, and so that was a huge miss, swing and a miss by Dave on that one because they've been disappointing. And Norway expect to prevail in that one. Christian, is there one player you're looking out for in tomorrow's matches?
I am not sure.
Okay, let me go first. So the player that I'm looking out for, so I got to give a shout out to Graham Hansen. I've loved her game for Norway and her dribbling game, and so keep an eye on her. But my other player is Lucia Garcia for Spain. She is number 17. She's been a sub in both the first matches, but has come on and made an impact in both those games. And I hope we see her from the start on the right wing because she is dangerous. She makes runs and she gets in behind, and China's going to be organized defensively. And so I think think her game would be very critical to unlocking a Chinese defense. And so hopefully we see her tomorrow, hopefully from the start. So Lucia Garcia is the player I'm looking out for. Christian, have you thought of anybody?
I'm struggling to find somebody right now just based off of these teams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so Oshuola, maybe for Nigeria, she was good on the counter. I mean, France has a number of talented
I was going to
attackers.
go possibly with Regnard from France just because she's got 2 goals from defense, which is very, very impressive. And she seems to be creating chances, which is not something you really think about when you think of defenders, but that's exciting that you have a defender who's able to do both, because not everybody can do both.
Yeah, I think she benefits from being, I think, 6'1" or 6'2", and clearly the tallest player at this World Cup. So both her goals came on set pieces, but definitely keep an eye out for her. One of the best center backs. Hopefully she doesn't score an own goal. Pretty bad own goal like she did last game. So hopefully she gets it together. So that's a great player to watch out for. That brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Christian, any thoughts you want to say in closing?
Let's go get some matches played. Should I do that here too?
That's a quick kick picks callback. Anyone who just listens to these podcasts, we also do YouTube videos for MLS. So that is what Christian's alluding to there. So I'm going to go with no.
No, I'm very excited about this World Cup. And now that we're in the last round here of the group stage, let's see who can get through and what kind of knockout stage we're going to have.
Yeah. Well, so we're not through the group stage. So we have.
No, I said this is the last round of the group stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I said, so let's see what's going to happen and what kind of knockout stage we're going to have.
All right. He's jumping ahead there, but we love it. If you liked what you heard here, please leave us a review on iTunes. Those reviews help the most. We would really, really love that. Hopefully 5 stars. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @BTSoccerPod. Follow us on there. Interact with us. We would love to hear from you. Christian, what's our website?
Our website is brostalkingsoccer.com.
What can people do there?
Well, they could do a lot of stuff there, Dave. They can read about us. They could see past episodes. Or, they could go to our store link and you could see a bunch of merchandise that we're selling on there, as well as go to our Amazon store link that if you're buying anything on Amazon at all, just click there. Very few additional steps, no additional cost to you, but we get, just a lot of support from you guys from doing that. And it would really help us out.
Yep, no additional cost and just a couple extra steps. And I almost forgot, Christian, can you tell people about our Slack channel?
I would love to talk about Slack. It's been so long since I have. So Slack, if you don't know, is just a big chat room where a lot of people go to talk about whatever they want. But with ours, Bros Talking Soccer, you can talk about soccer, and there's all these different channels. You can go to all the top 5 European leagues, the Women's World Cup. We have, or just a World Cup, I guess, in general, but it's very female centric right now. And we got all different things like MLS, transfers. There's also a general category where you could just talk about anything. And trust me, people do.
Yeah, so OJ came up recently on
boy.
Yeah.
So well, there's a forewarning there that that general category can get a little crazy. So if you want to join us there, please reach out to us at BT Soccer Pod on Twitter or bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com.
All right. Excellent stuff, Christian. Thank you, everybody who has been here and is listening. We really appreciate you guys. Christian, any last words?
No.
All right. Hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday and a great week. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for reminding me on that one, Christian. And hope all the fathers out there are having a great day. And I'll be back tomorrow with Matt Leffler to recap day 11, first day of the match 3. So final group stage matches. So come hang out with us, YouTube, or listen to the podcast. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.